Hi and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be looking into will they reach out for those of you in a no contact love situation. There are three groups to choose from. Group 1 is the Howlite. Group 2 is the Amazonite. And group 3 is the Shungite. So if you want to take a moment to center, focus on your breathing, and feel whichever group, maybe multiple groups or perhaps all of the groups that you're most drawn to, I'll give you a minute to make your selection and then we'll get right into it. And there are timestamps in the description box of the video for each group if you'd like to jump ahead, which I do recommend using so that you can skip over me shuffling cards in between groups to clear the energy of the group I've just read for and tap into the energy of the group I'm about to read for. So again, I'll give you a minute. Please use the timestamps and we'll get into your reading. Hi, Group 1. You chose the Howlite. So I'm going to start with some oracle cards to get a feel for the no contact situation with this person. Are they planning on reaching out to you? Okay, we have Lilith, the first woman. I am the voice of my body and soul. I choose the life that I desire to live. The cosmic heart, devotion, potency. Make your life a moving prayer. And bird spirit medicine, ibis. Human soul, transition into death, purity, transformation, rebirth, adaptability, mystery, and knowledge. So with this idea of Lilith, this is really talking about reflection of a desire to go back to the start. This person may really be thinking about kind of where things went wrong and sort of searching within to try and discover the pathway to moving forward. This might be a situation where they have tried to kind of deny the existence of their feelings for you for quite some time, had tried to kind of freeze these things out, maybe move in another direction, trying to enter into a partnership with somebody else, somebody who is maybe a little more docile or yielding. That's what's coming through. Somebody who, maybe challenged this person a little less than you had challenged them. On the energetic level, I'm feeling specifically a very electric connection between you and this individual that really sparked or initiated something within them that called them to sort of question their reality, question the nature and meaning of love and partnership. Really challenging them to get on a path of ascension, to take accountability for themselves and the choices that they had made in their life and kind of the results that had yielded. And it feels like this might have been something where you were just kind of motivating this person to do better, maybe through the words that you were saying, through an example that you had set, or it even feels to be just something energetically within the dynamic between the two of you that might have been very overwhelming, caused them to sort of pull away, to run away, enter into another partnership, a subsequent partnership, even possibly returning back to a previous partner where it really just fit kind of the needs of the ego. They weren't really challenged to grow and evolve in any way, but to just kind of maintain some kind of status quo. It might have even been kind of a low vibrational or toxic connection that they had chosen to move in the direction of or to return to. But it feels like something has really wrapped up as far as that situation is concerned, or is starting to wrap up, or this person is just really feeling lackluster in that situation. They're missing that fire that they experienced with you. They're missing that electricity, and there's thoughts and contemplations about how to get back to that place. Despite their best efforts, you remain very much entrenched in their heart. And it feels like something that they may, with this idea of a moving prayer, they may be seeking guidance, seeking answers, looking for signs about how to kind of fix this situation, how to sort of move away from a current decision or a circumstance that they find themselves in order to be able to sort of retrace their steps back to you. This is definitely the energy of the grass was not greener on the other side. And even here in this imagery with the ibis, and we've got the green grass, but then he's standing on kind of this stony pathway. So it feels like a choice that was made. It has left them in a sense of like spiritual drought, and they're missing that. They're missing the vibrance. They're missing, that green, that heart chakra energy. And we also have the cosmic heart. They're missing that deep and emotional connection, that intimacy with you, that at the time they may not have valued. In the past, they may not have valued that. This can also talk about a heart chakra activation or opening that has taken place, maybe something that was initiated in your connection early on that was very overwhelming to them. They chose to fight that. They chose to move back in the direction or just towards something that more served them on the ego level, on the ego plane. But now that time has passed, they're missing that. They're missing and almost feeling this drought of that intensity of that love that the two of you shared. And the idea of transition into death and transformation, this does speak again about this desire to sort of go back to the start, a wanting to kind of fix the situation, but understanding that change is necessary in order to kind of generate momentum in this circumstance. They understand to some level that a door has been closed, that however much time has passed, that crucial decision to choose a path and walk that, it has fundamentally changed everything between the two of you. And yet at the core of all of that, that love still exists. And so it feels like somebody who's in the process of kind of surveying the landscape around them, seeking to really kind of utilize the tools that they have, recognizing maybe some cycles or patterns, other dynamics and relationships that are needing to be closed out, to unencumber them more fully, to move back in your direction, in a changed energy, not just coming back with their tail between their legs and repeating similar cycles, but there's this desire to almost transcend, to uncover and to deduce and to really figure out what was that motivation. Obviously, as has come through, kind of the intensity of that heart chakra energy, that heart chakra activation and opening. which may have led to, a lot of deep emotions that they hadn't felt in quite some time, this deep cosmic bond that they have felt with you, which, even people that are familiar with spiritual concepts, when you experience that in the physical reality, there's no preparation for that. You can arm yourself with as much knowledge as possible, but until you go through that very tactile experience of being activated and awakened through the energetic exchange with another, or even very spontaneously, for those of you that has been the case, where it has happened for you independent of another person. Again, you can only prepare yourself so far for that experience. It's very visceral. It affects kind of the body on multiple layers. It affects the life on multiple layers. And even more so for people who haven't kind of gotten that base of knowledge. They haven't prepared themselves for it. It catches them very off guard. It's very overwhelming. And it's something which it feels to be very much mutually experienced by the two of you. You may have been the one to kind of lean into that, to explore that more, to pursue that more, to ebb and flow with that kind of dynamic, with that current. And this person chose to kind of move in another direction, to avoid that, to try and shut that off. These efforts have been in vain, and now they feel to be in this process because, again, kind of that, once that heart is open, you can't fully close that again. You have made a significant impact upon this person and upon their life that they have been unable to fully extinguish. They have been unable to fully forget about this. You have remained within their heart. And as no matter how much time has passed, something has really shifted within them. A lot of this energy, this flow has really permeated something within them, to now what was very overwhelming, where they had almost recoiled from that. There is this urge to kind of move back in that direction. They have been forever changed by this situation. And it's not that it's difficult to fit into kind of a more ordinary life or these other choices that they've made, but it's just that inside they're almost feeling just very dry within themselves, very much parched within themselves. And it's something where they could continue to go through the motions and continue to kind of remain in that atmosphere and in these dynamics for the duration of this lifetime. This doesn't seem to be discomfort on the level of, starvation almost, but it's something to where they had tasted that richness, that fullness with you, that energetic exchange, that depth, that very cosmic love. And it's almost like nothing compares. That the Sinead O'Connor song, "Nothing Compares to You," is coming through. So I will link that under the timestamp for this group, because that might be significant to your connection. That can be a little bit more about how this person is feeling, and kind of the gist of that song is that, like, all this time has passed, and yet this person has been unable to kind of stuff that away, or kind of, move beyond these feelings. They remain very pervasive for them. And that definitely feels to kind of summarize where this person is at. But in this stage right now of kind of contemplating and planning and thinking and surveying around them and saying, how can I move beyond this? How can I move back in that direction of what I am yearning so deeply for? So I'm going to get a little bit of tarot to get some clarification for you about this. Okay, we've got the Five of Cups, which is water energy, Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. Three of Cups, so more water energy. The Hierophant, which is Taurus. And the Three of Swords, which is air energy, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. So with this Three of Swords, a card of heartbreak in this particular deck, it's a man in a cave, which really brings forth kind of this idea of the hermit. But it also ties into kind of these feelings within their secret heart. What you are not seeing, what they are not expressing, is this loneliness, this longing, this sense of loss with the Five of Cups. It feels to a certain extent this person has been in varying degrees of mourning ever since the two of you went into a no contact situation, kind of going through the various stages of grief, denial, anger, sorrow and kind of like moving into this element of sort of acceptance, that all of these things, it feels like they've vacillated among all of them. They've never fully completed any of these stages. It's a lot of unfinished business here, a lot of focus at this point in time with the Three of Cups, both in terms of maybe third-party situations, that could be family or friends, other romantic partners, even this person's own kind of distortions regarding love and partnership, a degree of pessimism, maybe as a result of heartbreak from the past, or the intensity of what was activated within them may have even been something, it feels, which was seeking to really pull them out of some kind of grief or mourning from heartbreak of the past. And they were clinging to that sense of pain, telling themselves that they weren't ever going to open up to love again. They weren't going to let them fall for that again. They weren't, they were just very content to kind of hold on to this bitterness and kind of this gnarled aspect of the heart space, kind of deliberately keeping it very closed off, very kind of tightly sort of entrenched in these kind of walls and barriers, and even without meaning to, just through kind of the nature of the dynamic between the two of you, something was really activated, opened, and before they knew it, here they were having all these feelings, having, caught feelings for you, but more than just in kind of a very casual way, more than what they were used to. But this is this next level sort of sensation that brought up a lot of fears for them in the past, as far as, other times where they had felt love or affection for someone or had romantic feelings, and how that had kind of fallen apart, and sort of the toll that had taken on them. Jumping then into the conclusion of the intensity and nature of what they felt for you, and if that were to kind of fall away, it almost feels like something they wouldn't have been able to recover from, and sort of pulling away. The Hierophant really talks about tradition as well, so traditional beliefs, traditional values. This can also really tie into a marriage, that maybe this is somebody who went and married another person after being in the dynamic with you, and it's something where, again, it's they can continue on in that circumstance, they can continue on in that situation, but nobody has ever touched them on quite the same level at the soul as you have, and it is something where it is very unforgettable. This idea of a marriage that might be kind of an issue, or again, maybe this is somebody who's divorced, and kind of the lingering wounds from that experience have a very tight grip upon this person, that they almost feel to have this desire to reach out, desire to, create something, maybe even sort of regenerate a friendship between the two of you, but feeling very much at a loss at this present time as far as how to do that. Other things which they are recognizing may need to be sort of wrapped up, a decision that may be needing to be made, but an understanding as well that they can't just kind of flip-flop between these two worlds. It's really an either or, it's two different paths, and they feel to be at a crossroads, very much continuing in the same direction of what they've chosen, but there's a sense of their gaze, they're kind of out of the peripheral of their eye, they are seeing and sensing this kind of otherness, the connection with you. You follow them through time and space. It's something where they've not been able to fully let go of this. So in terms of will they reach out, it feels that they're very much at this point in time in a contemplation mode. So for the immediate future, they may be just kind of withdrawn into themselves, kind of overwhelmed as far as everything that has happened in the past, what to do with the intensity and nature of the feelings that they have for you. Praying, seeking guidance, maybe even looking into resources about how to tie up some loose ends or kind of extract themselves from other situations. This can even be somebody who might be looking into self-help, some kind of grief counseling, some kind of a way to transcend these obstacles within them that sort of stood in the way of opening up more fully and experiencing the richness of what was possible between the two of you in the past. So it looks like kind of a holding pattern at this point in time, kind of more of the same, which for a lot of you, if it's a no contact situation, you're probably rolling your eyes and thinking, great, okay, it's been more of the same, maybe for a while. But this really is serving as this reminder that even though this person is going through the motions, kind of maintaining that mundane reality, the choices that they've made, nevertheless, you continue to make a very profound impression upon this person. And this is something where it feels it's very undetermined at this point in time. That it's again, this crossroads to just sort of continue moving through their life, holding on to this heaviness, holding on to that idea of what if, very much aware, unable to kind of fully shut down to the impact you have made upon them, desiring some newness, desiring some kind of fresh start, but at this point in time, feeling very bound to certain conventions or certain choices that they've made, that it's not, it's kind of a distance there between these two paths, that it will take some effort on their part to kind of cross that threshold. This is really giving me the idea of a Three of Wands vibe. So, the person kind of standing there looking at the expanse and almost maybe feeling a little overwhelmed at how much is necessary to kind of move over in that space of where they feel very nourished, very quenched, where their heart is really calling them. So for the immediate future, it looks like kind of the energy of just watching and longing from afar, very much focused on kind of the loss and the heartbreak. But this imagery here of kind of being in this cave, this kind of withdrawal, this is a very positive sign of maybe a cocoon phase that this person is going into, where, through kind of the course of that, this introspection, through the course of really planning things out and strategizing and leaning more into these feelings as opposed to kind of stuffing or denying them, that can be the precipice where change in the future is maybe possible in this circumstance. But it really feels to be kind of the vibe of the only way out of this situation is to go through it. Feelings that they may have denied, kind of this heart chakra opening or activation that they may have been really running from, really denying, really trying to stuff or suppress. They're needing to kind of go through this period of time in order to be able to show up to you in a more authentic version of self, in order to be able to show up to you, not with all of this kind of emotional baggage and sort of in the energy of resistance, but in order to create change in this situation, it requires the energy of flow, which is something that they're starting to kind of lean into, that process of surrender within themselves, to examine these things, to really feel into these things, to at least address maybe just that component of pain that is very pervasive within them. But it's a step in the right direction. It's a start, and it's kind of undetermined as far as like how deep they will go with that, how consistent they will be with that. But kind of through the midst of sifting through all of this pain, then they will come more into that place of certainty, that place of openness, and be able to really make choices, not based on kind of the whims of the ego, but really answering that call of the heart. So I'm going to get a few messages from their higher self and see what do they want to tell you right now. Okay, and they say, I wish that I could finally kiss you. So they are missing the intimate times the two of you shared, being in proximity to you, having a lot of regret about pushing this connection away, pushing you away, having chosen a path that, although, it's stable, it's steady, it's solid ground, it's something that's known and familiar, it doesn't quench kind of that thirst of their soul in the same way that you have. They also say, I wish to release any negative thoughts. So this can tie in really with that process of kind of moving through grief, moving through heartbreak, starting to lean into that phase of self-examination and releasing situations, patterns, thought patterns within themselves, the opinions of others that have really stood in the way and kind of been a wedge or a barrier to the full expression and actualization of what was possible between the two of you in the past and just in their life in general. And we also have twin flame angel number 424. 424 is the message of hope, love, and encouragement. Now is the time to make the first move. If in union, then it is encouraging you to take the next step. So this really is tying into this guidance that they are almost getting from their higher self to go within, to take that first step, to really look inside, look around at the life they are leading. Is this something that makes them feel fulfilled, or is this something where they're just kind of going through the motions and getting by? It feels like an important time of learning to come into union with self first and foremost, that this person is starting to kind of venture into that journey about. They are taking that initiative. They are making that move rather than just kind of continuing to harbor this heartbreak, continuing to kind of harbor that pain within themselves. There's a little bit of self-examination that is happening, and it may be a very slow start, very, kind of this Hierophant energy here. It's very much entrenched. It's very much something that they may have viewed as set in stone, a decision that was made, or kind of a view about love, a perception about love, or even this situation in general. But this idea of kind of the first move and the next step, it really is speaking about some kind of a peak that the two of you have been at, or that this person has been at energetically, and they're starting to take some movement. They're starting to kind of descend from that very lofty perspective of, this is out of reach, this is out of the question. It is outside of the realm of possibility that any change can occur within this. Even that internal landscape and kind of all that emotional debris that had interfered with kind of the full flow of the love between the two of you in the past. They are moving beyond the place of seeing these as kind of these immovable barriers, and there's momentum that is happening. It's that descent into the personal underworld, into that subconscious, into that kind of well of sort of pain and disappointment that they've been holding on to. And it is through this very necessary journey that they will be able to come into a place of balance. And in the future, then it opens up the possibility of a return towards you, not just in the interest of kind of repeating cycles, but with a place of true kind of decisions having been made through and as kind of a byproduct of this element of self-mastery, learning both the kind of the best and the worst about themselves, coming into that place of self-acceptance, learning to forgive themselves for the choices they've made in the past, and kind of the ramifications of what those choices have had upon others, including you. A very necessary stage of, again, kind of this internal cleanup, taking those steps within, rather than just kind of seeking that pleasure and that gain and that satisfaction, or those distractions outside of themselves. And they also say it's time to bloom. So this really is, to me, talking about the seeds of love that, were planted, kind of this energetic seed within that was cracked open by virtue of the two of you meeting in this lifetime, interacting in whatever capacity you did in this lifetime. These seeds, which may have been quite dormant within them, or that they had tried to ignore, there's some kind of growth, there's some kind of germination that's taking place. And again, it's this idea of this shadowy energy needing to go deeply within, to dig through some of this pain that they're feeling, some of the regret and the loss and the choices they've made and what motivated that. And it is through that journey within that a new potential is then open to the possibility of blooming between the two of you further down the road. So I'm going to get a little bit of guidance from Spirit. Okay, and we have dance like nobody's watching. Find a way to connect with the innocent energy of your soul. So this is really, to me, giving Six of Cups vibes, and that's that idea of nostalgia and of reconciliation, a return to innocence. And this is really encouraging you to continue on your own kind of healing journey, what you have been doing to kind of nourish yourself and sort of mend the wounds and the confusion of what's been left in the aftermath of going into this no contact situation with this individual. Continuing to focus on cultivating that abundance mindset within yourself, being very self-focused, very self-directed, and allowing this person the time and space necessary to go on that internal journey. If they were to come back to you prematurely, it's something where it would just run a very high risk of kind of falling back into these same patterns. It's almost like the more time that it's taking, the better it is for sort of the long-term potential of what's possible between the two of you. This person is at kind of this crossroads point. Work that you have done on yourself or that you are already endeavoring to do, they've been kind of deferring this. They have been holding back. They're a little bit behind you as far as a lot of this is concerned. And this isn't a bad thing. As you have been going within, they have been learning through experiences in kind of the external sense. Again, that idea of kind of the contrast where they are starting to recognize the life they've been leading or the choices they've made. It's sustainable. They could continue to move through that for the rest of their life, but do they want to? Is this really living the fullest expression of what is possible for them, related to this connection and in other ways in their life? So it almost feels like the two of you might at this point be kind of switching sides at this point. They are beginning that descent within, that journey within, to really peel back the layers of the unconscious, of their wounding, these inner child wounds, these core wounds, the values that they hold, sort of the actions that they've taken or the inactions, learning to come to a place of acceptance about that. It feels like for you, it's blooming. It's really taking those lessons that you've learned within, that work you've really done within, that place of acceptance you've come to, and now really expanding your world, coming out of that cave, out of that darkness, and kind of learning some of those through new experiences with different people, with different kind of forms of abundance you are calling into your world, into your experience, the light you have harnessed within, that you have uncovered within yourself, shining that out more brightly. So it feels like a very kind of crucial step for where you are at with this person. Your journeys are kind of headed in different directions, but it's the same kind of overarching theme of lessons that are needing to be learned, primarily kind of identifying one's own wounds, seeking to kind of remedy those or come to a place of acceptance about those, and then being more mindful about how we move through the world, how the choices that we make are oftentimes motivated from that place of wounding, stepping into more of personal accountability in order to, really stop and think and not just be so impulsive, kind of like a bee sort of flittering from flower to flower, but being more methodical about things, really taking that moment to pause and say, am I reacting or am I responding? And all of that is really only possible through that journey work within, through learning those lessons within, that quiet time, that introspection, that we are then able to kind of bring out and practice in the world around us. So it feels like a very important time where they are needing this space to kind of go within and start doing that inner child work, that core work within themselves. And it's your opportunity, your time to really shine, to really kind of bloom from this place, bloom from where you were planted. The work that you've done on yourself and you continue to do in these lessons, it's time to now bring that out into a different form of expression. Maybe this is being of service to others, helping others, giving back in some way. Maybe this is your life purpose that you have discovered and have come into alignment with, and focusing more of your efforts on that. Gifting this person kind of that ability to go through this process without being so scrutinized over it, because it's internal work, it's quiet work, it's very difficult work, and it's a journey that they can only take on their own. Everyone must, in their own kind of time and in their own individual way, have that descent into their own underworld, so to speak, in order to kind of learn what needs to be learned and gained from there, and kind of bring that treasure out into the world to change those kind of outside circumstances, to create new possibilities and move toward new horizons. So a very important kind of point. And so action in a grand sense, it feels like is being taken, but it doesn't, it's the action of going within to kind of do some of that inner healing and inner repair work, which then opens up the possibility of showing up in a changed energy and creating actual measurable and productive change in this situation between the two of you in the future. So I'm going to get some initials. This can be first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or it could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. We've got E, I, V, B, R, X, L, C, W, and F. So those are your messages, group 1. I hope they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I offer pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled love letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of that out as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, group 2. We chose the Amazonite. So I'm going to start with some oracle cards to get kind of a general feeling for this person you are in a no contact situation with. Are they planning on reaching out? Okay, we have Kuan Yin, the goddess of compassion. I recognize suffering in order to release it. Curiosity breeds compassion. A new earth, it's happening. Keep holding the vision. And bird spirit medicine, finch. Cheerfulness, energetic, happiness, hope, optimistic, authentic self, help communicating thoughts. So this is a very excited and vibrant energy. It feels like this person is really gearing up to take some kind of action towards you. They're very curious about what has been going on with you since the two of you went into this no contact situation. These cherry blossoms here on the card really speak to this springtime energy, this energy of rebirth, of renewal, a desire to come out of the cold, out of a wintry phase between the two of you. So this may even coincide with literal springtime energy, which here in the Northern Hemisphere where I am, we're just, actually today is December 21st, so it is the official first day of winter. So happy winter solstice, happy Yule to everybody here in the Northern Hemisphere. And so this can be something where, like the literal springtime energy, March 21st being that spring equinox, that can be very significant in terms of this person making that contact towards you. In a very general sense, though, it does speak to this desire for renewal, a desire to really knock on that door and see, is what existed between the two of us in the past, is this still viable? Is there still something there? Can we start again? Can we breathe life back into this? The idea of a new earth, a new beginning, something concrete in the material world. They may have been thinking about this for quite some time. And also here on the Kuan Yin card, this little butterfly, which speaks to this transformation, again, kind of emerging from the chrysalis of the cocoon. The idea here with Finch of help communicating thoughts. So they could be really sort of strategizing what they're going to say, having drafted, maybe several versions of text messages or emails, reaching out to you on social media, kind of going through this process of really trying to put to words the full nature of what they mean. And it feels like something which, when it comes forth, it may not be, multiple paragraphs, like a whole novel they are presenting to you, but it feels that there will be some depth to this. Again, a lot of enthusiasm. This is a very cheerful energy here, as we see in Finch with the cheerfulness, and just this desire to communicate, a desire to not necessarily start off with, an apology obviously might be necessary, but it feels like they're not wanting to dwell too much on that at first, but it's kind of this desire of starting off on the right foot, coming towards you in a very lively energy. Something also with all of this kind of red in these cards as well, and the idea of earth, this very groundedness, something that they've been thinking about, they've been contemplating for a while, and they have reached this place of certainty, working on kind of fighting their way through fears of rejection at this point in time. Again, a lot of back and forth that might have been occurring as far as really getting to this place, like we see here with authentic self, the authenticity of what they want to speak, not wanting to sound too superficial, not wanting to gloss over the necessary components of what are needing to be said, wanting to make sure that it's the right balance of kind of practical and emotional. A lot of stepping out of their comfort zone in some way, learning to really put words to the feelings that they have. Something more than just an I'm sorry being necessary. And it feels to be a major theme of what they have been working on, what they've been contemplating or thinking about, and even something which can kind of build in momentum through kind of the coming months of winter. So again, the literal beginning of spring in the Northern Hemisphere, March 21st. So the early or kind of later part of March, early part of April might be very significant for when you kind of hear from this person, when they actually take those steps forward. They make that action. There's a lot that's really cooking beneath the surface. They're holding this vision, this possibility. They're trying to just move forward, ignore the kind of the voices of doubt, the voices of hesitation. There's an energy of almost perfectionism here, but not in the sense of like over planning. It's like they want to get it just right. They want the timing to be just right. This can also really tie into opening up those lines of communication that might involve an invitation somewhere, a particular event. There may be a birthday or a milestone or some kind of anniversary, something that they're really waiting for that to happen. Maybe some things they are wrapping up in terms of the end of the year of 2022 and wanting to have this very fresh start with you, kind of start the new year off right. So this can even tie into that in terms of kind of this energy of rebirth and renewal. So you may hear from this person in the next few weeks on New Year's Day, right around kind of that New Year's, wishing you well, wishing you health, wealth, and happiness, inviting you out somewhere. initiating that conversation, turning over a new leaf, starting the new year off right, not wanting another year to pass or another season to pass or almost another moment to pass. It's that level of excitement with this kind of certainty that they have within them of wanting to really, again, kind of get down to the root of things, rebuild a foundation between the two of you, start off in a better way than you had kind of left things, than things had really ended between the two of you. And it may be something where they're having to take a leap of faith, really take a risk in this sense, not, again, with this element of curiosity, not really sure how you will receive them, hoping you will have compassion for them. But any kind of doubts that have held them back up to this point in time, it feels that they are just marching forward with determination. They're very hopeful. They're very optimistic. It's a lot of velocity that is kind of building towards to this eventual kind of emergence that they want to make into your world, to start a new cycle, to at least open to the possibility of what the two of you can build together in terms of fresh start energy. So I'm going to get a little bit of tarot to get some more depth about this. Okay, we've got the Ten of Cups, which is water energy, Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. The Eight of Wands, which is fire energy, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Five of Pentacles, which is earth energy, Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. And the Six of Pentacles, so more earth energy. So earth signs coming in very strongly with new earth and then these two pentacle cards. And it also really just feels, aside from astrology, to really tie into this idea of wanting to ground this fresh start, something they've been thinking about for a while, something that has really been stirring within them. Again, something that's been cooking within them. They've been kind of cooking up a plan, hatching a plan to come towards you. And it feels time to really release that, to kind of, with the idea of the Eight of Wands, that communication that is launched out, something that is really sent from afar. This can be an invitation. This can be, kind of that remote communication, a text message, a phone call. For some of you with this earth energy, they may literally show up on your doorstep, although it feels that maybe just out of kind of necessity, wanting to kind of respect any boundaries and barriers, and also a little bit of kind of this sense that if you were to reject them, if you weren't so compassionate to them, they don't necessarily want to have the door slammed in their face. A sense of being kind of a little more removed from the situation gives them the opportunity to convey kind of the fullness of what they want to express. That maybe, you'll read that correspondence, you'll read the full text message, you'll read the email, versus if, they knocked on your door, you opened it and saw them there, they may get out very little other than hi, hello, good to see you, something like that. And then it's a sense of there's so much that they want to say. There's so much that they want to convey. They want to come home. They want to come out from the cold. There's a desire to give, to renew, to be very generous with you, where in the past they had been almost maybe emotionally withdrawn, or, whatever had kind of gone wrong in the situation. This can talk about, the giving of an apology, the proving of change, not just through words of change, but action and effort that accompanies that. Something they may convey to you as well. This idea of Ten of Cups, this is very kind of whimsical energy. This is this emotional fulfillment. The idea of making this communication, of a fresh start, of turning the page in this situation, it fills them with a lot of joy and hope and happiness. A valuing of the connection that, maybe this time apart has been very necessary. And it feels that they have really sensed the loss of you and of this connection with these coins here and the Five of Pentacles. This can really talk about all these different memories, maybe even photos that they've been looking at, or kind of memories that are popping up, maybe even things where, the photos on their phone, and then a lot of phones will kind of say, oh, remember when, and it'll kind of bring up, the old photos. So something like that with memories. I think Facebook even does something like that, kind of like a remember when, sort of a year in review. So all of that, it really ties into this kind of imagery here, where something they are literally seeing, they're literally looking at some kind of a slideshow, or even like a folder that they have of photos of the two of you, these memories. And this can even just talk about kind of these clips within their mind of of times that you spent together, the feeling that they had with you. All of this is just really creating this sense of urgency within them of they don't want to let kind of more time pass. They don't want to just have this connection remain kind of in that realm of memory. There's a desire to create some newness, to kind of learn from the past and what the two of you have experienced, to give this another chance, to give it another try. To try and work with each other to move beyond these troubled waters, a willingness to, invest more emotionally in the connection than they had in the past. Some skills that they may have been working on within themselves in terms of communication skills, learning to really put words to their feelings. And this could be very much outside of their kind of element and comfort zone. So it's something where they put a lot of effort into it, trying to get this right, trying to convey in the proper manner, not just a list of what they're feeling, but in a way that kind of expresses emotion as well. So they may have been even kind of writing you a poem, or I'm hearing a love song, something of that nature that they want to gift or give to you, that expresses kind of the fullness and the depth and the breadth of what it is that they feel for you. This desire for, a return to that kind of contentment, a desire to kind of rebuild, move in a new direction, infuse this connection with life force, bring it out of the cold and into the energy of growth and renewal. So very likely that you will hear from this person in the not too distant future. They feel to be very eager, very much chomping at the bit, trying to get all the little details right. Valentine's Day, with all this red, might also be significant as kind of when this person emerges, or something that they have planned, some kind of grand declaration that maybe they're kind of making that first move towards you in sort of the weeks that come before that, kind of right around the beginning of the year, in order to build up to the point of kind of this grand gesture that they want to make that really evolves the connection very significantly. So Valentine's Day might be that point of approach when they are reaching out, or it's something where they could even kind of be laying the groundwork of that as kind of like these difficult conversations, moving through those troubled waters in order to kind of come to that very, sort of commercially romantic day of the year where love is really celebrated. Not wanting to, have that day be kind of sullied by sort of the water under the bridge between the two of you, the things that are needing to kind of be hashed out or discussed, but wanting to kind of lay that groundwork ahead of time in order to make that kind of day, that idea of romance very special. And even if this doesn't coincide with Valentine's Day in general, it feels very much like, not like the sad stories of Valentine's Day, but like those sappy kind of romantic, like the person is proposed to after following a trail of rose petals all across town to where their future fiance is waiting at the ring. It's that kind of thing. It's very kind of sappy and romantic, and that feels like the vibe of what this person is kind of concocting within themselves. Something very sweet, something very out of the ordinary. Something that will be, kind of this very grand gesture towards you, a grand display. Maybe even, the fact that they're talking about their feelings could be so out of character for them. It's everything you've wanted and what was so elusive before, that there's preparations that are being made to really, deliver you that kind of contentment by having a true heart-to-heart discussion, putting it all out there, opening themselves up in a very new way that doesn't just kind of heal the wounds of the past, but it really kind of sets the tone for what to expect in the connection moving forward. So I'm going to get a few messages from them and see what do they want you to know from their higher self. Okay, and they say, I dream of the love you give. So they are yearning for that 10 of Cups, that very emotionally fulfilling exchange between the two of you. This can even be something where if this connection was kind of a failure to launch, it didn't get very far off the ground. Maybe this was, a friend, and it was just these feelings that were sort of held back on, or a chance that was not taken. It's something that in the aftermath of that, through this no contact, they really have thought about that, about what would have happened if they had seized that opportunity. And there's something that has really been building within them to kind of give this another try, dreaming of the love that has the potential to grow between the two of you, dreaming of that second chance, dreaming of what could be, what could become that maybe was never actualized between the two of you in the past. You may also be meeting with each other in the dream space, a lot of healing energy that is exchanged in that arena, and it almost feels like dreams that they have of you. There's this almost like tangible energetic signature then that follows them throughout their waking hours. On the other side of having had those dreams, it is just, it's that motivation that is just kind of leading them deeper and deeper into the heart space. It's creating more of that curiosity, more of that desire to kind of reinvest in this, reinvigorate this connection, restart the communication between the two of you. And they also say, I hope you still love me. So a little bit of doubt and fear about maybe a lot of time that has passed. Do you still feel the same? Are the seeds that existed at one time between you still viable, still able to be kind of nurtured? Can this grow into something very, very promising and very stable? But despite those fears, it feels that they are definitely pressing forward. They have to know. There's this curiosity. They can't just continue to dwell in that land of potential and what if. There's something that's really driving them one way or another. They have to figure this out. And it feels to be something that even if you were to reject them very immediately, there's a persistence to this, where kind of the level of planning and the level of trajectory, shooting their shot, they're not going to be content, with just kind of being ignored. It's the kind of thing where they're willing to put in a lot of effort towards this and be very consistent. They're very mindful of the fact that, time may have passed, the circumstances between the two of you, you might be very guarded, although, there's a yearning to kind of see them again, to be reintroduced to them again, to build something again. There's an element of kind of caution, of wariness about not falling back into the same patterns with one another. And it's something that they are very mindful of. So this is somebody who feels to really be in it for the long haul, that grounded energy, that earth energy. They're really going to give this a try rather than just kind of allowing those hopes to be deflated upon the first effort. It feels that they may have kind of contingency plans, plan B, plan C. They're not going to give up without a fight in this circumstance. It's too important to them. It's too enticing to them. They just have to know, can this connection be resurrected? Can the two of you move in the direction of something very authentic, the expression of this love or the rebirth of this love in a new way that is involved with, more reciprocity, more equal give and take, less one-sided, less that is held back, more that is communicated. And it's something where it may be a multi-layered plan. Again, that kind of that idea that was coming through with maybe starting off the communication at the beginning of the year with kind of this plan further down the road for Valentine's Day. So they're given it about 6 to 8 weeks of sort of these efforts on their part before kind of a next big revelation. So there are steps involved in this, and again, kind of contingency plans. If you ignore this, then they're going to try that. Different sort of approaches that they have really been sort of deciphering and planning within themselves. And they also say, meeting me in the 5D. So another confirmation of that dream state energy. And it feels like this person is very consciously reaching out to you energetically. And it ties in with that element of curiosity, kind of testing the waters, trying to see where you are at, a craving that they have for you, a yearning that they have for you, not wanting to let another year pass with this silence between the two of you, wanting to kind of move forward. And at this point in time, while maybe they are still in this process of planning, getting things ready, getting ready to, kind of launch that communication. In the meantime, it's almost like they can't help themselves from reaching out to you energetically. So you may be sensing this in the form of, thinking about them a lot, feeling kind of this loving energy emanating from them, this Kundalini energy, again, like dreams that are happening. And it feels that this is not just happenstance. This is very intentional on this person's part. And it is also reflective of kind of the level of thought and attention that is being put into this. You're picking up on that energetically because they are actively and consciously investing time and mental energy and emotional energy into kind of the contemplation and strategizing around this circumstance. They also say need to take a leap of faith. So that was really coming through, that it might be, really coming out of their comfort zone, the way in which they approach. There's courage that is necessary here. They're right on the brink of taking action, of wanting to cross that threshold, cross that precipice, bridge that gap in the silence that exists between the two of you. So it may be very surprising the way this person emerges, or kind of, again, what they say, what they demonstrate could be so out of character for how they were in the past when you were dealing with them, that might even kind of put you on guard, kind of like, what's the catch here? What do they want? Are they just love bombing? Are they really serious this time? This is a very profound change. So all of that, it's kind of this idea here of, this athlete that has been preparing, that has been training, that has been getting ready for this leap of faith, this action, the main event. And it's something that, they're very excited about. There's a lot of anticipation building. So for a lot of you, you will probably hear from this person. They will reach out, they will make contact, they will make that effort, something most likely from afar, from a distance, either traveling to you, or it feels to be most likely something, via social media, via text, or a phone call, maybe even a letter that comes in the mail if this person is into writing actual letters, just any number of things that, come from a distance. And it's something where, it's coming from a very genuine place within them. They're willing to go the distance in order to prove to you this desire to transform the situation, to renew the situation, to work in tandem with you toward rebuilding trust and rebuilding stability and moving in the direction of contentment in this circumstance. So I'm going to get some guidance from Spirit now. Okay, and we have your spirit is ascending to a new vibration. Allow time for what is aligning to your frequencies. All else will fade away. So this is really encouragement, as much as you, as I can sense this anticipation as I'm tapped into this energy of the group here. You may also feel this sense of anticipation, something building. It's like a giddiness almost, not being sure what's on its way, but something getting ready to arrive. And it's a very positive feeling. It's a feeling of anticipation it's very pleasant. And so it feels like it's really this encouragement to just remain in that space of allowing. Be open to the impossible, and just really be open when this person returns, that they they're coming forth for a reason. There is a desire to change these circumstances, to move this connection out of whatever the dynamic was before. Evolution that has taken place within them, that they are now willing, ready, and able to contribute to kind of bringing the two of you up out of the past, out of how they were showing up. There's a willingness to give. There's a willingness to cooperate and co-create with you. And as this happens, as kind of this trust between the two of you is built very gradually, kind of the triggering or the guardedness, allowing that to sort of fall away very organically, keeping the bar set high, holding the standard. You've done a lot of work during this no contact period to, really come to terms with everything that's happened, ways in which you've cultivated abundance for yourself. It feels that for a lot of you, the work you've done internally and in your life has kind of piqued this person's curiosity. You're very much tied to one another energetically, and they have sensed this. They have sensed the shift within you. And it has really motivated them to come towards you, not just in an interest of, wanting to kind of gain information or to kind of satiate that curiosity, but it's something that is very alluring. You are magnetizing this person in. So continuing to focus on that, keeping your vibration high, doing that inner work, focusing on abundance, cultivating abundance for yourself, and allowing this person, it feels like this is kind of their task, is to take that leap of faith, to rise up to meet you at that level, which there's a lot of indications that this is in the works, that this will be coming on some level very soon. soon. And it may just be kind of an introduction to that, but this has energetically all the makings of, if you're open to that consistency and co-creation are major themes here, that it is very possible to kind of transcend your experiences with one another previously, to actively move with each other out of kind of the density and the stagnancy and a lot of the difficulties you faced in the past, and to move in the direction of something that is very mutually beneficial, very mutually fulfilling, and something that is, even a new kind of element of the dynamic between the two of you unfolding. So a new type of commitment with one another, a new dedication to one another, a new sense of certainty. And again, somebody who's in it for the long haul, who's willing to really participate and fight and fight for rather, and work through the difficulties to try and ground this situation, to really make the most of the seeds of potential between the two of you to mutually kind of participate in nurturing those things, protecting those things, watering those things, so that kind of a new expression of this dynamic is able to grow from that. So I'm going to get some initials, and this can be first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or it could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. I've got I, L, P, R, W, U, Z, E, and T. So those are your messages, group 2. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I offer pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled love letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of that out as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 3. You chose the Shungite. So I'm going to start with some oracle cards to get an idea about if this person you are in no contact with, are they going to reach out? Okay, we have May Bago, the warrior saint. I am a warrior of love. My devotion attracts resources and support. Star Keeper, cosmic ancestor, seed the light by staying grounded. And Bird Spirit Medicine, Puffin. Pay attention to body language, overcome abandonment, self-care, finding yourself and your independence. So it feels like this person is in the process of fighting their way through some fears or cutting through and detaching from some outdated kind of patterns within themselves or within their life. This can be thoughts about love and connection, maybe even the way that they have been viewing this situation. There's an element of them having been very hopeless that change was possible, maybe that a lot of time had passed and that there had been kind of this interest in trying to reach out, trying to restart something, but feeling that it might be too little too late. And almost like a fear also with this idea of overcoming abandonment, a fear of rejection, a fear of lack, feeling that, whatever choice that was made, however they contributed to this no contact situation, that you have in some way moved on, that nothing that they could do or provide would be good enough at this point in time. And it's something also with this idea, this encouragement to stay grounded, where their thoughts may have really been taking them into some dark places, into again, like this hopelessness, this energy of lack that has been holding them back. They are actively fighting their way through this, but it feels to some degree they are still very much tangled in that. It's a very crucial step toward movement in this situation. This May Bago and the month of May may be very significant. You may be dealing with a Taurus or a Gemini. The name may be very significant, or the month of May could have, or springtime energy in general might have been a crucial kind of point in this situation for you. But this is really bringing to mind the idea both of the Page of Swords, because she's holding this this sword above her head, so kind of watching, observing, maybe something that this person is able to really see online, something that they have heard, maybe they, even something they could have misconstrued, like a friend that you have been dealing with, or maybe somebody that they saw you with, or kind of through the grapevine they heard about this, and their mind has kind of gone to this very dark place, that it's too little too late, you've moved on, and so they're really kind of wrestling with that. Something that was misinterpreted or misconstrued. This can also talk about, just kind of watching from the shadows while they are trying to fight their way through these fears. There's a longing. Their attention is very much on you. So kind of this idea of the silence and sort of this cocoon that these walls, this blocked, this guarded energy, that while it may appear that it's very stagnant, there's a transparency there. They're looking through. You can't necessarily see in. They're very much presenting this stony, exterior to you, but from the other side of the glass, they are looking out. They are observing you. They are taking note of things, even just energetically, tapping into you, being very inquisitive about that, being very mindful of how they perceive your energy. This card also, Maybago, is really tying into kind of this Knight of Swords energy as well. And just this very active process, being really on the brink with the sword raised, of cutting through either the silence and getting ready to take a leap of faith, but this feels like things they are getting ready to liberate themselves from. This can be even the opinions of other people, people that might have meddled in the situation in the past or that really skewed their perception. This can even talk about somebody that had given them misinformation, or they had misconstrued something that had caused them to kind of lean into these thoughts of defeat, that it's too little too late, for example, which has kind of created and I'm hearing unnecessary delay in this circumstance, in this situation. There's a sense of they wanted to come towards you sooner, but they got tied up. Something else held them back. There was a barrier. There was a barricade. They didn't perceive that there was any kind of point in moving towards you, or that they had kind of missed that opportunity. And emptiness as well, with kind of this opening here in the heart space on this statue, that they're feeling very empty without you. It's a place in their heart that you have occupied that nobody else has been able to fill. And even if they are kind of putting on this presentation of everything's fine and they're very content with where they are, there's an emptiness, a void that they are holding within. They're trying to take in a lot of information at this point in time, trying to kind of maneuver their way through illusions in the interest of truth, trying to overcome some of this kind of fear within themselves. And it feels that they're almost, it's bringing forth this image of somebody who's almost kind of trying to chop their way through this thick vegetation in order to make their way to this clearing, to make their way towards you. Either that time and the circumstances of what led to this no contact situation, that it's very complicated. There's a lot they are needing to kind of eliminate from themselves, from their world, maybe cutting certain people off, certain influences, certain relationships, certain situations. And it feels like a lot of this could be very internal. Again, kind of fighting their way through doubt, through anything that might have been misconstrued or misinterpreted, learning to just kind of lean into that heart space and be kind of guided through. Kind of having leapt to conclusions at a certain point, but needing to find the truth in some way. So it looks like momentum is happening towards you, but there's still almost this tangle that stands in between the two of you. They're trying to fight their way through, but it feels very overwhelming to them at this point in time. A lot of complications, maybe that they have overcomplicated matters, and that it's not so easy to just kind of come towards you, that there's a lot of confusion even in the mental space that they are seeking on getting clarity to. This can even be finding the words to express regret, express kind of a desire for a fresh start, that it's very much outside of their realm of comfort. There's a sense here with pay attention to body language, and it's bringing forth the idea of somebody with their arms kind of folded across their chest, that they may have been the one to cut off the contact, to kind of put up these barriers, but they are either perceiving or have jumped to the conclusion that you would not be receptive to them, and that there's a lot that they are also needing to look at as far as the reasons why they cut off contact with you, why they closed this down, when on the other side of all these kind of barriers and this walls and this energy almost of defensiveness, fighting their feelings, there's a truth that has become very acute to them, that there's an echo in their heart, there's a space in their heart that only you have been able to reside. Nobody else has been able to fill that place. Nobody else has touched them that deeply before in terms of romantic connections of the past. And so a lot of almost fighting these feelings of blame and frustration toward themselves. Why did they push you away? Why did they let you go when you were so important? You were so crucial to them. You held a very important part within themselves. And so part of that element of self-care is also, taking the steps necessary to really eliminate things which stand in the way of that full expression of their heart. Things even in terms of maybe addictions, patterns in their life, kind of toxic thoughts, negative thoughts, a defeatist attitude, people in their life that, are not in support of this connection, that have been discouraging this person from trying to make amends. There's a lot of things that they are trying to really clear away from themselves, to almost clear the space necessary for this love to be invited back in and to enter and to grow once more. So I'm going to get a little bit of tarot to get some more clarification about this, a little more depth about this. Okay, we've got the Nine of Wands, which is fire energy, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Six of Swords, which is air energy, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. Judgment, which is Scorpio. And Page of Swords, so more of that air energy. And a beautiful confirmation there of what I was really picking up off of this May Bago imagery here. Again, that Page of Swords, they are thinking about this. They are watching you from afar, tapping into you energetically, even in terms of, being very inquisitive about this, questioning certain conclusions that they had come to, something that, maybe they had relied upon false information or had allowed fear to sort of lead them away from you. But something doesn't feel right about that. Something is not resonating with them, and kind of this no contact situation, or sort of what led to that, what has led to kind of the prolonging of that, that they may have been very unquestioning about at one point in time, but they're really starting to introspect and cut themselves away from illusions. Nine of Wands is this card of the wounded warrior, and it speaks to kind of this hesitation, this fear of taking action too impulsively. There's a fear of rejection, a fear of what if they're wrong, a lot of kind of confusion. And again, it's just a tangled energy at this point in time. A lot of battles that they are fighting within themselves to kind of reach this place of clarity, with the Six of Swords kind of moving on to those calmer waters. But this relates to kind of the mind, the thoughts, the thought patterns, deciphering even what they have heard, what has been said, even people whose opinions that they got about this connection that might not have been directly opposed to it, but just were unable to understand the nature of this very kind of cosmic connection between you and this person. They were operating from the lens of practicality only, of sort of mundane connections, ordinary connections, somebody who may not even have an understanding of what soul connections are, for example. And so the advice that they were given, that they relied upon, that really dictated their choices in the past, they are almost seeing that as sound advice for what it is, but lacking in terms of how valuable or relevant it is to the nature of this connection and situation. So learning to kind of move beyond the opinions of others, learning to really be self-sustaining, to form their own conclusions about this, understanding that at this point in their path, this idea of judgment, they must go it alone. There's a desire to kind of reawaken something, to transcend something. But it's a process. It's these rungs on this ladder. They're coming to a higher view of the circumstance, of what sort of stood in between the two of you in the past, the sense of almost delay, and that it's a very long journey. It has taken a long time, and it's very gradual. Again, all these people on this ladder, some of these people kind of, falling off or being pulled off. This is really speaking about this tangle of a lot of opinions, a lot of moving parts that are needing to be taken into consideration before this person just sort of reaches back out. A fear of you being very guarded, very defensive, or very offensive rather towards them. A fear of kind of combat with you, as sort of, the wounds of the past are really brought to the surface again. A lot of fear of rejection and of resentment that you may be holding on to in regards to them. Again, a lot that has been misconstrued, misidentified, mislabeled. And so there's a struggle here. There's a struggle taking place between kind of these elements of fear, which are seeking to almost keep this person sort of tethered to the status quo, not making the effort, staying in kind of fear and denial, and then kind of this truth and clarity, this higher nature that is really encouraging them to see beyond the circumstance, see beyond the illusion, see beyond whatever has taken place up to this point, and focus on the potential and possibility of what can yet be regenerated or experienced in this connection. So in terms of will they reach out, it feels that they are trying to make their way towards you, but they're caught in this bramble within themselves, within their own thoughts. There's a desire to move forward, but as they are perceiving it, there's an impasse. There's a lot of clutter that is in the way. And that has to do with thoughts. It also has to do with kind of as they are looking around at sort of the quality of life they have created for themselves, the people who, the opinions that weigh heavily, you know, people that they are exchanging energy with, the friends that they are keeping, the company that they keep, lifestyle choices, all of that. They're looking around and seeing that it is not conducive to fresh start energy, that to sort of bring you back into that environment, or rather to bring that environment to your doorstep, it would just result in kind of further tangle, further embroiling in these energies that were very limiting. And so efforts are being made towards you by going within to do some cleanup work on themselves, on their life, a desire to move forward, to move out of this energy of indecision, to find some clarity, to find that way forward. Again, this imagery here where, you know, they're able to, it's almost bringing the idea of kind of like one-way glass. Like you can't see what is happening. And a lot of this is this internal process, but from the inside, they're almost looking out and like wishing that you could see, wishing that you could know this kind of transformation that's happening. But it's something that, you know, a lot of it is really embroiled with fear. They're trying to stay strong. They're trying to kind of maintain stability through this process of unraveling, through this process of kind of weeding things out of their life. A lot of things that may be long overdue, this idea of kind of procrastination maybe, or something that they should have brought forth long ago. This seems to be a tendency and a trend within this person to just ignore and stuff. The idea of almost an overfilled closet that you can no longer shut the door on, that they've just hung a curtain over it so that nobody sees kind of all the junk and all the garbage that they have just stored in there. And now that curtain is being kind of taken down, and they're really feeling very overwhelmed and having to assess and kind of categorize and sift through all this debris, all of these kind of tendencies within them. And it feels to be kind of a larger place of catharsis than just this connection. Somebody who's at a big turning point in their life to release a lot of things, to kind of fight their way through some kind of status quo, a series of sort of repeated actions or motivations that have yielded the same sort of results, a same series of disappointments in many different ways in their life. So reaching out towards you, it doesn't feel to be anything that, you know, would be very immediate. It feels to be something that would be farther on the horizon, but they are making their way toward that point of readiness, fighting a lot of fears, making that preparation, cleaning up that internal landscape and their life in a very significant way that ultimately further down the road can lead to them coming towards you in an energy of clarity, with something to offer, with kind of a safe space in which the love can grow, things that may have thwarted or interfered with the development or the continuity of the connection in the past. This is someone who's kind of in the process of eliminating those things, sifting through those fears, kind of moving through illusions to find the truth of who they are, what they value, what they want to grow more of in their life, and what, you know, is no longer serving them or is kind of limiting them in some capacity. So I'm going to get some messages from their higher self now and see what do they want to tell you. Okay, and they say, I know you are my twin flame. So if you resonate with the title of twin flame, the label of twin flame, maybe you consider this person to be your soulmate. This can be a confirmation of that. And it really feels like some element of mirroring is going on here. There may have been a process of upheaval that had taken place in your life at some point, cutting off, you know, one-sided connections, really giving your whole life a makeover, and that it's something to where this person, it feels like, is just now starting on that process. Again, things they procrastinated about, things they have delayed about up to this point in time. A lot of tower moments that could be happening, and even a lot that are self-induced, where they almost feel that they are kind of suffocating in their reality. And it feels that a lot of it may have to do with kind of the changes you have made in your life. Energetically, these are being registered by this person, and the walls are kind of closing in. As you are raising your vibration, they can't help but be compelled propelled in another direction, to at least sense the possibility of something more, something different. And it feels like something where, they're kind of in that destructive phase of the twin flame dynamic, where they're needing to kind of burn it all to the ground in order to rebuild, in order to really sift through those ashes and find the things of value. A lot of kind of detaching and moving away from previous ways of being, kind of outdated programming within themselves. And it's something where they feel you energetically. It's kind of this idea of beyond the silence. They're watching you still. They're feeling you. They're very wanting to move towards you. But as they are looking around, it just doesn't feel very practical. They don't really feel that they have much to offer you other than further complications or more of the same at this point in time. They also say, I dream of what could be. So there is a forward momentum here, as much as they are kind of in the thick of it at this point in time, really kind of wandered off in the weeds somewhere, and they're kind of just trying to cut their way through all of this, kind of disentangle themselves from a lot of things. They are thinking about the future. They are thinking about the horizons, the silence that they are maintaining at this point in time. It feels really to be motivated by not wanting to bring you into all this complication, looking around and seeing that their life as it exists right now, or kind of this internal landscape, their belief systems, their kind of perceptions of themselves and of love, this lack mentality, it is not conducive to nurturing and growing a very vibrant connection with another. And so it's something where it almost feels like they're protecting the potential of what could grow between the two of you by keeping distant at this point, recognizing that they need to finally get down to business and start doing this work, fighting these battles, instead of kind of pushing away or numbing these things out or avoiding. Now's the time to really cut their way through all of this kind of dissonance, all of these complications, all of these things which are really limiting them and bringing them down, liberating themselves in order to be able to find that freedom to move towards you. And we also have no. So that is a confirmation that at this time, it's almost for your own protection that they are, and well-being, that they are not trying to reach out, not trying to bring you into kind of this chaos. There might be a lot of upheaval that is happening, a lot of changes that they are gearing up to make, that are being made for them, things that are kind of crumbling or falling away, or again, kind of seeing through the illusions to the clarity. They need this space to really fight these battles on their own, to make the preparations necessary inside and outside, to be that safe space on all levels for this love to be renewed, rejuvenated, or even grow in a more substantial way for the first time. They also say, I release and let go. So another confirmation of really cutting through a lot of these tangles in their life. They're releasing old patterns, old dynamics, lifestyle choices, one-sided relationships, the opinions of other people, releasing kind of the need to involve other people in this connection. And there is this energy of momentum. They're releasing that so they have the freedom of movement toward a more authentic version of themselves, toward, the possibility of what could develop between the two of you as well. So I'm going to get some guidance for you now about the situation. Okay, and we have two choices stand before you. Use your mind and intuition to make your decision. So this really ties into that crossroads point, this point of evaluation, of sifting through that this person is at. And it feels to be very much this idea of a mirrored reality. As they are in this process of kind of cleaning house in their world, in their life, you're really guided as well to, be very discerning and mindful about kind of the energies that you hold within, the ideas you hold within, even kind of an expectation of how this situation will work out with this person. Now's the time to really, detach from things, to really take an honest look at what are you exchanging energy with? Is this reciprocal? Does this enhance your feeling of self? Does it enhance your life? Or are these things which weigh you down, which make you feel confused, which overcomplicate matters? And the two of you really, walking parallel paths in this sense. A lot of clearing, a lot of self-liberation, cutting through illusions, and that this is a very crucial point, to kind of continue on on in this reality of mirage, or to really cut to the chase of things, to make some difficult decisions, to kind of move beyond that which sort of holds you back or makes you feel very stuck. This can even tie into sort of releasing the idea of hearing from this person again, or union or reunion with this person. Choosing yourself in this circumstance, choosing love of self first and foremost. And if kind of holding space or waiting, the disappointment for this with this person, if it's really just draining you and dragging you down, then now might be the time to kind of allow that to, go dormant for a while. Allow this person to do what is necessary to make that choice to move towards you, move forward with your life in other ways, toward what feels good, what feels fulfilling, what, reciprocates with you, rather than anything that is very kind of one-sided or stagnant. And there is the possibility that growth can happen in the future, but at this point in time, it feels that a lot of this is very internal work, a process of preparation, of readying oneself and one's environment for the love that you seek to be able to be expressed and to flourish in a healthy and reciprocal manner. So I'm going to get some initials, and this can be first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or it could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. We've got I, G, E, F, W, and R. So those are your messages, group 3. I hope they resonate with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I offer pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled love letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of that out as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.